Hey, so in this video we are going to learn how to navigate and manipulate and use the file system in the terminal. Usually you are used to have some graphical GUI application for managing your files, okay? You get your panel, you get your folders, and you can do whatever stuff with right click. You can move, copy, rename, move to trash, delete stuff. And we can achieve all of this with simple 7 commands. Anything you can do in your GUI application, we can do in 7 commands together. So open a terminal of your choice, and we are going to learn how to use ls, cp, mv, rm, mkdir, touch, and that's about it. So first of all, this is the U-type commands where your cursor is. And before your cursor, you get this syntax, which simply means your username at your host name or your computer, and this is the shell interpretation. So, simply, whenever you open a terminal, you are usually in your home directory. What does it mean is that when you open your visual application for managing files, you are here in your usernames folder, where you have your documents, music, pictures. This is your home directory, and this is where you are at. And when you open a terminal, anytime, regardless of where you are located in a terminal, you can type the tiled character, you press enter, and you get into the home directory. Or you need to you need to write cd and the tiled, and you are here. So if I quickly go to some directory, I'm in a desktop directory now, and when I type cd and a tiled, I go back here. Same goes for when I go cd and a $ home, because this is the, we should put it like this anyway. I'll explain later why, but the tiled and the home with the $, the variable replacement stands for the home directory. So at any point, anywhere where you are, you can type cd and the tiled, and it takes you back home. So let's start with ls. ls stands for list and current directory. We can actually open a manual page for ls, and it says list directory content. Any command you want to learn about, you can just type man and the command. So man cd, and there is no manual entry for cd because it's just a built-in function of the bash. But if I just type man Firefox, again this is a bummer, doesn't matter, grep prints lines that matches pattern, and you can learn whatever you want. In the manual, you are given a pager. This pager is something that you can scroll through with your keys, with J and K up and down, and you can press Q to get back. So ls, as I said earlier, ls lists directory content, and you can use it for the current directory you are in or any directory you want. So if I clear this page with Ctrl and L, or I can type clear, it will clear from the space. If I type ls, I can list, it lists the current directory I'm in. So I can see all the folders and files that are in this directory home, which is the same as this one, right? I can do also ls, and it takes arguments. So I can say that a specific path of a folder or a file is an argument. So I can say ls desktop and slash, and if I press enter, there is nothing, because as you can see on the background, there is nothing on my desktop folder. But I can also say ls pictures with the slash, and I can now see all the files and folders. Now, as you can see, the manual page for ls, there's a lot of these arguments that it takes a bunch of them actually, and just scroll through them. But the most important ones are ls. Let me go back to the home folder. You can also write cd without anything, and it will automatically go back to the home folder. If I go ls here, I get all the folders in the home directory. If I do ls a, it prints all the folders, including the invisible ones. So, and the files. So, in a Linux, GNU/Linux or Unix systems, hidden files or folders starts with a dot, the beginning, the period. And you can now see all the folders we've seen earlier, but you also get the hidden files here. And also these two dots, double dot and a single dot, which stands for the directory I'm in and the directory above. If you don't want to list these two in your ls command, you can do the capital A, and it will omit them. ls also has the, let's say, I call it a list view. If you use the L argument, you can get a nice column view of your files and folders. And the system is so modular that you can use any arguments with any other arguments the program is capable of using, with some exceptions that the manual strictly says it's forbidden. But I can also do ls, L, and capital A. Now I have the column window, but I can also see the hidden files. Okay, and the other one I like is if we are in the list view, I can say ls and h. And what h does is it replaces this column, which is a folder size or file size, with h for human readable format. So if I press ls of h, I get a 4 kilobytes here. If I do it on also on invisible files, so lih, I can see 14 kilobytes, 807 bytes, 71 bytes, etc., etc. And you can investigate the ls manual for anything you want. There's a lot of stuff, and every command has a lot of arguments and parameters that you can take. And this is the heart of the Unix-based operating system, because it's a program that has a lot of options, and you can stack them however you like. You can modify the program to do anything you want, because you are free to use any of these parameters alongside any other program with any of these parameters. So that was LC. It lists directory currently, or defaultly it lists current directory, but you can also list directory of your choice. And if I said that I can say webworks without like this. No, I made a mistake. Webworks. A list, ls, so lists this directory, which is this one. Important thing to say is that the ls command looks at the folders from the point where you are at. So when I said earlier that I'm in a home folder, so here in a home ARA folder, ARA is my username, it checks what I wrote and it compares it with the content of the current folder. So current folder is ARA, and if I do ls webworks, it looks for webworks within the current folder. So if I'm in the webworks folder and I do ls webworks, it cannot show me anything because we are now inside the webworks folder and there is no webworks folder within it. So if I open it here, there is no webworks folder. So it always looks from the perspective of the folder you are in currently. However, you can also, so this is something called relative path. You can also do absolute path, and for the absolute path to work, you need to write everything before that. So if we also go back to the GWT, I wanna I want to echo it. So the current folder we are in is /home/username/webworks. And as you learned earlier, you can replace this part with the tile, or tilde, or however you pronounce it in your variation of English language. Or actually this part, yeah. So I can say, wherever I am, I can even go deeper. I'm in webworks folder. You can see there is this image folder. I can go into the image folder. So I'm in, So I'm in home, which means /home/my username /webworks/images. So it's the same as if I would do this. Okay, I'm here. And I can do ls, and let's say I want to display what's inside the documents folder in my home directory. So similarly, here I would go back up here, ARA, and open documents, and I can see two of these. And it would be, you can do it relatively, meaning you can use double dots in your path to specify, like, go up and do this on this. So we could do, remember we are in images in webworks, we can do go up up one folder, specify with a double dot. So we would be now in webworks, then go up another folder, which would get us into the home folder, and then we could do documents, and now it displays the content of the documents folder. And it only works because we manually specified how many folders up we want the ls command to go to look for the folder we wanted to list. But we can remember, this was just a list. It just shows us the content of the page, of the folder we specified. But this is our cat, it's called Absinthe. But you can also use tilde, which would represent the absolute path of the home folder, and then documents, and press enter, and we get the same result. And remember, the tilde is just a simpler way of writing /home/ARA/documents. So that's very clever. You might have seen how quickly I typed the ending part of a word, and that's because shell or bash has a default option for autocompletion. So if we go back to the home folder and clear the page, list the directories I want to get into documents, you can simply type cd, which stands for change directory. So you use cd and then directory, and it will jump into the directory. We'll use cd and doc, and if I now press tab, it will automatically autocomplete, and we are now in the documents folder. We can list it, and we are here. So you know how to use cd, so we can go cd. If you just type cd as it is, it's same as doing this or this. Okay, so cd goes here. You can use cd to go up and down in directories. You can use ls to display them. So you can use these two commands to go anywhere in the file system you want. And also both of these commands handle the absolute path. So I can quickly go to, from anywhere I am now currently, I can go cd in a root folder at C. And I'm now in the etc folder of the operating system, which is nice. So this was ls and cd. What we want to learn now is this cool command called rm. If there is a manual entry for rm, it should be. Okay, rm stands for remove files or directories. You can also learn more about the options there, the parameters or arguments. So we will jump into the webworks folder, because this is the folder of this channel. And I have a playground folder here, so I can quickly go to playground. And here I will make a special folder as a test purpose, for test purposes. And to make the folder, we will use the program mkdir, which stands for make directory. You don't need to learn anything at all about mkdir. You just need to know that you type it and then you put the name of the folder at the end. So test, mkdir tests. I pressed enter and it created the folder test. So if we ls this current playground folder, you see 3 folders now, compared to 2 folders when it were before when I ls the folder. And we go into the test. We can do just test because we are in the playground, and relatively it's just 1 folder below. So cd test, we are here, and we will use a command called touch. If touch change file timestamps, but it's actually abused for another purpose. Touch basically creates a file and it puts a timestamp on it, but as a side effect it creates a file. So you can say touch, manual.txt, and if you list the test folder, you see a manual.txt. If you use ls h, so in a list view and a human readable format, you can see that it's a text file with 0 bytes. If I quickly open my editor of choice, or we can even do, we can do echo. You don't need to learn this. This is just for the purpose of populating the file. So hi there, sweet boy. You want to output it into the manual file. So now we are in a test folder. We got a manual, and if we look at it, you see that it has 19 bytes. If I actually print its content to the terminal, I see the content there. So what I do now is that I will delete the file. I can do it with the rm command. I can say rm manual. I can press the tab to autocomplete it, enter, and it's done. Now remember, the cat's drinking the water from my mug. Okay. So remember, there is no trash by default using the file system in a terminal. So if I ls now, it's gone permanently. It didn't move itself into the trash, into some temporary folder for deleted files. It's gone forever. So this is a very powerful command. Similarly to cd, ls, or any other command we use today, it also takes the absolute path as well as the relative. So if you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard, so arrow up or arrow down, to list through your previously entered commands. So if I go up, you can see I used ls. If I go up more, you can see I used cat. And you can go back and I will use it for redoing this command, which took the string I wrote here and put it into the file manual.txt. Now it doesn't matter that I didn't create the manual.txt before, because this echo command creates it for me if it doesn't exist anymore yet. So I have it here. If I go to my home directory now, remember the manual file is in the test playground webworks folder. I'm now in a home directory. Okay, you can see in this visual thing that if I go to webworks playground test is here. It's here, the manual, and I can open it with a mouse pad, which is equivalent to notepad on Windows. So what I can do is I can do rm webworks. I'm using tab to autocomplete because it's super fast. Playground test manual, and if I press enter now, it doesn't matter that we are not in the same directory. It just deletes it because we provided the absolute path. Absolute meaning from the root directory down there, or from our current directory to the file. Press enter. You see it's gone. You can also do the echo command we used. If I go back here, I can actually rewrite the webworks playground test and enter, and as you can see here, it's in a folder. I can also, so any command I use can be set with the path going up or down in the folders or absolute path of the folders. So that was deleting the file. If you go to the menu of RM, you can see that it actually deletes files as a default way of doing things. But if you find the R parameter, it means recursive, and that means going through the content of a specified folder, deletes everything in it and the folder itself. And you actually need to use it to delete the whole folders. So if we go back to the example earlier in the playground, we want to delete the test folder. So we can do it from any folder we are at, but it's usually safer to go into the folder and delete it from there, because you make less mistakes. Because if you are up in the folder system very high and you do a mistake in specifying the path of the file or folder, you might delete the wrong things. So we can go to webworks playground ls, and we want to say rm. Now we want to specify our parameters, which will be r and only r in this example, and test. Enter, and it's done. If you ls here, there's no test anymore. If you look here, there's no test anymore. You can actually do, if I make the folder again, go into the folder, there's nothing in there. I can make folders like that. I can make folder A, make folder B, make folder C, make folder D. If you look. And in order to delete them, I can either say rm, R for recursive, meaning everything inside the folders and the folders themselves, and then A, B, C, and D, which would result in deleting them. Or if I remake them here, I can, let's just move the window here, spare. I can say rm and then use the glob or asterisk character. It's called glob in the bash. It's short for global. And what it does is that it deletes everything in the current directory. Now, it's crucial to differentiate the like this or like something like this or this, because if we would do this, we would be talking about the root directory, and the root directory is the home of everything inside the file system. So all of your files, all of the system files, everything is there. It's this ladder here, or the character, is actually the root folder in which the home folder is located, and everything you have in your folders, even the devices or web camera, everything. So that would mean if you would use slash, it would mean the absolute path of the root directory. We can now use glob, and it will delete everything inside here, inside the directory we are at. Now we got this error because inside a standard error, because we didn't specify the R parameter. So it would delete every file in the folder except the folders. So we still need to do rm error glob, and that took ls, nothing here. If I go a folder up, there are still the folders that were there originally. So we are back in the test folder, and we went through ls, cd, rm, and we also use mkdir. And let's jump into cp and move an mv. CP stands for copy, and MV stands for move. Now, it's as simple as you can imagine it is. If I create a file, I don't know, file that, I don't know, MP3. Okay, get an MP3 file. I can simply copy the file in my music folder. Now I can, let's combine the commands we learned today. So if I ls the home directory, I can get the name of the music folder, because in different systems the music folder is either called music, audio, whatever. So if I do ls home folder, I get the result of music. So we can also list the music directory and see that there is a lossless folder in which I store the lossless rips of my CDs that I bought. So I want to make a directory there and put the file there, or copy the file there. So I can do I can make there in a home folder music called video files, and the slash, because we specify the folder. And if we ls the same folder, it's there, and then I can cp and a cp command. If you open the manual page for cp, it copies the files and directories, and if you it says it copy the source to destination. And if you look into synopsis, you use copy, then any options you want for it, and then the source and the destination. So we can say copy, and remember we are in a test folder in which the file is located. So we can say copy file in, and this is the first, like the source, and the destination will be the home music video files. If I press enter now, let's look at the folder. So if you list it, list video files, it's there, right? Now you might think of another use case, doing duplicates. So we are still in the test folder, and we can say cp file, and if I don't specify the path now, as I did here in the destination part, I can say file underscore backup the mp3, and what will happen, that it will create the copy of the file inside the same folder, because I didn't specify any other destination, and by default it starts in the current directory. And the mv command is absolutely the same, but for moving files. So main page, mv move or rename files. Now, why rename? Because of the example I just showed you with doing the duplicate. Because if you specify same destination as the source is, you move it from the folder into the same folder with a different name. So let's rename the backup as something else. We can do mv, so move a file, and I pressed tab now, and it stopped where the dot is, or before the dot, because it now expects you to write something and then press tab again, so it knows exactly what you mean. Because if I write F and tab, it will go only to the point where it's differentiable, what will go next. So file, and now I need to do underscore, and if I press tab now, it knows that I mean this file. So there, so move a file backup into the same folder called file archive. And so you see it's now renamed. If I else here, it's renamed. But also you can use it natively as a moving thing. So we can actually, let's go to, let's ls the music video files folder. and we can copy the file back here, right? Move it permanently without the copy at the destination. So you can say movie, now the foreign path, video files, file, and I now I don't need to say home, webworks, playground test, because this was here we just specify the destination, and now we start with specifying we specify the source, and now we start specifying the destination, and we now start again in the same directory. So I can just say whatever mp3. When I press enter, it appears here, and if we ls, the original folder it's not there anymore. So we can easily delete the folder. So we don't have junk in our file system, and I think that's it. So we know how to use ls, and you can also check the manual for everything. So man ls, and now you can do arrow keys or JK to go up and down, and or Control D to go a page down, Control U to go page up, to learn about everything the command is capable of, every parameter. And at the bottom there are usually examples, or yeah, they probably are. You can search them even with the whatever. I don't need to teach you the search command, but if you press Q, you go back to where you were at. So we learned how to cd, how to change directories throughout the system, and we will use it without the parameter to go back to the home. We learn how to use ls to list everything. We also learn how to ls with parameters like a, all the files, all the hidden files, l, which is the list view, and h, a human readable format. We learn how to use cp, the copy command, mv, the moving command, and we also did mkdir to make directories. We also we did rm to remove files and directories. Now you need to be very careful, because it doesn't prompt you with the prompt of are you really sure you want to delete it, or it does on folders with files within them. But you can also omit that. Yeah, let's give you the example before we finish this lesson. So we are in the home directory, and I will make directory finals. I will go into finals, and I will create some files. I will use touch, txt, btxt, and cflb. Okay, I now have these files. If I go back to it was my cat, I was just luring him back here. If I go cd back in the home directory and I ls now, I have a final which contains these files we specify here. Like ls final, you see the file. So if I now, from the home directory, for rm with r, meaning recursive for the folders, finals, I press enter. Okay, you deleted them, but sometimes it prompts you with the question, do you really want to delete this file or this file or this file? And if you go to the man page of rm, you can learn about the f tag or f parameter, which says, or it's short for form first, which will ignore the prompt. So there is this joke for the Linux newbies or Unix-based operating system newbies, similar to a joke for a Windows newbies, where you try to tell them to delete the system32 folder inside their C. So I think it's like C or something like that. And people try to tell the newbies to delete this folder because it will make the computer run faster, but it's just, it will delete all the system files. So in a Linux world, or Linux-based world, or Unix-based world, very dangerous command that some trolls try to tell the newbies to run on their computers is rm rf/. Now you should know what this should do now after this video. But if you don't know, rm is for remove, as we learned. R parameter stands for recursive, meaning every file and every folder, or all the content inside a folder and the folder itself. F means force, so don't ask for permission of deleting anything valuable. And now after the parameters or arguments, we specified the path. And now it's slash, meaning the root. And inside the Unix file system, the root contains literally everything in your computer. Your personal files, system files, device files, firmware, software, everything. So these 8 layers, rm space -rf slash or space slash, will delete everything in your computer without asking you for confirmation. So I will just delete it for the sake of carefulness. And if you're so that was the commands we learned. If you want to clear the terminal, you can type clear, or you can do Control L, which will clear it as well. And wherever you are, doesn't matter how deep you are, if you do CD, you jump back to the home directory. And that's about it for today's episode. So thank you. And if you want to ask something, ask me in the comments or ask me in the email I have somewhere in the About Me section of this video channel. So see you in the next video where I'll go into some very cool commands.